The pursuit of extending not just life, but the quality of that life into advanced age is one of humanity's oldest desires. Yet modern science now provides tangible, actionable strategies. The common enemy in this quest is the passive acceptance of decline, the belief that cognitive and physical vitality must inevitably erode in lockstep with the passage of time. This mindset is fundamentally flawed because it ignores the profound power of specific, targeted nutritional and lifestyle interventions. By shifting the focus from simply fighting disease to actively nurturing cellular and systemic resilience, the individual gains a structured path toward sustained daily vitality and senior wellness. This exploration, guided by the insights of Heng, reveals a deeper, more intentional way to approach healthy aging and maintain a powerful reservoir of age with energy. The unsung hero of cognitive preservation, the degradation of cognitive function, is often viewed as an unavoidable consequence of longevity, a slow but steady decline in memory, processing speed, and executive control. However, the work of Heng suggests a far more proactive stance is possible, one that focuses on nurturing the very mechanisms that support brain health. A key factor in this resilience lies in the consistent intake of specific, potent micronutrients and natural compounds. One particular powerful fruit, often overlooked in Western dietary analysis, demonstrates a remarkable ability to combat the age-related memory decline that plagues many individuals after the age of 60. The mechanism is rooted in its unique profile of polyphenol and high-impact antioxidants. These compounds are not merely passive scavengers of free radicals. They're active modulators of cellular signaling pathways. Specifically, they have been shown to cross the blood-brain barrier and target the hippocampus, the brain's center for learning and memory. By reducing chronic low-grade neuroinflammation, these fruit-derived substances help maintain the structural integrity of neurons and promote the process of neurogenesis, the creation of new brain cells. This is a direct counterexample to the outdated belief that the adult brain is a fixed entity incapable of renewal. The research consistently shows that when the internal cellular environment is optimized, the brain retains a much greater capacity for both learning and memory retrieval than previously assumed. The applied scenario for this insight becomes clear when considering the daily habits of older adults. Imagine a person who regularly incorporates this specific fruit into their morning routine, perhaps blending it into a smoothie or consuming it as a simple snack. Over time, this consistent, low-level delivery of neuroprotective compounds creates a cumulative benefit, shielding the delicate neural architecture from the oxidative stress that accumulates over decades. Heng emphasizes that the power of this practice is not in an occasional heroic dose, but in the steadfast discipline of continuous support. The limitation here, however, is the expectation of an immediate or total reversal of long-standing damage. While the fruit can slow decline and enhance function, it cannot instantaneously erase decades of suboptimal lifestyle choices. The true impact of this nutritional strategy is revealed in its long-term effect on synaptic plasticity. The ability of synapses to strengthen or weaken over time is crucial for both memory formation and adaptation. The key compounds in the fruit support the expression of certain growth factors that are vital for maintaining these dynamic connections. A person who practices this nutritional discipline, for example, finds that learning a new language or mastering a complex instrument in their 70s is significantly easier than it would have been without this foundational support. The simple inclusion of this dietary element offers a concrete, biological foundation for continued cognitive engagement and longevity. The biochemical process involves the upregulation of NRF2, a master regulator of the antioxidant response, which signals the cell to produce its own powerful protective enzymes. This internal defense mechanism is far more robust than relying solely on external antioxidants. Furthermore, the compounds have a positive effect on mitochondrial function within the neurons, ensuring that the brain's high energy demands are met efficiently, preventing energy deficits that can lead to cognitive fog and fatigue. This understanding of the underlying mechanism transforms the act of eating the fruit from a mere dietary choice into a form of active neuromaintenance. The individual's continued capacity to maintain sharp recall and adapt to new information is a reflection of this systemic vitality. The insights of Heng consistently point toward the interconnectedness of physical and mental health. The digestive health promoted by the fruit's fiber and nutrients further supports the gut-brain axis, reducing systemic inflammation that can spill over into the brain. Thus, the powerful fruit's role is not isolated to memory alone, but is part of a broader strategy for whole-body optimization. The sustained age with energy that people seek is fundamentally linked to the efficient operation of their most complex organ. Consider the challenge of a retired professional who chooses to re-engage with a demanding, complex hobby like celestial navigation. Without adequate cognitive support, the sheer volume of new data and the requirement for precise memory recall could be overwhelming, leading to frustration and abandonment. Yet, with a disciplined approach to daily nutrient intake, including this powerful fruit, the cognitive load is managed more effectively. The mental clarity remains, allowing for the joy of mastery rather than the struggle against decline. The question that remains is how the body processes the secondary metabolites of this fruit to maximize the bioavailability of these crucial compounds for brain uptake, an ongoing area of research. What am I doing today to actively protect my brain's future? The philosophy of energetic discipline, the concept of daily vitality, extends far beyond simply avoiding illness. It is a philosophy rooted in the consistent, mindful application of energy, a perspective often highlighted by Heng. He suggests that true wellness in later life is not a matter of luck, but of energetic discipline, where the expenditure of effort is precisely balanced with periods of deep, restorative recovery. The common enemy is the cultural pressure to either overexert continually or fall into a pattern of sedentary inertia, neither of which supports true longevity. The promise of this approach is a life where physical energy is abundant enough to pursue challenging goals well into the senior years. This approach requires an understanding of the subtle energy systems of the body, recognizing that stress is not merely psychological, but a physiological load that must be metabolically processed. The applied scenario involves a person who, rather than viewing exercise as a finite resource to be burned, sees it as an investment that generates more overall energy. For example, incorporating short, intense bursts of functional movement followed by deliberate, focused rest periods, a practice Heng advocates, avoids the catastrophic energy depletion that can lead to chronic fatigue. The counterexample is the individual who pushes through constant exhaustion, mistaking sheer effort for true discipline, which ultimately leads to burnout and systemic breakdown. The mechanism underlying this energetic discipline is the optimization of the body's primary energy centers, the mitochondria. These organelles respond to both metabolic stress and caloric input. By engaging in practices like intermittent fasting and Zone 2 cardiovascular exercise, the person essentially signals to the body to increase mitochondrial density and improve efficiency. This process, known as mitochondrial biogenesis, results in a clean, sustained energy supply throughout the day, directly addressing the age-related energy decline often associated with 60 and beyond. It is an internal restructuring that allows for age with energy not just in short bursts but for prolonged periods. The insight from Heng on the importance of focused, non-distracted activity provides an author-anchored applied insight. He suggests that even routine daily tasks, when approached with full concentration, become an energetic practice. For instance, chopping vegetables or tidying a space with complete mental presence uses less nervous energy than trying to multitask while worried about external pressures. This is because non-present activity fragments attention, which is a major, often unrecognized, drain on the prefrontal cortex, leading to a feeling of exhaustion even without significant physical effort. A significant limitation of this philosophy is the modern environment of perpetual digital distraction, which constantly tempts the person away from full presence. Overcoming this requires an intentional commitment to creating boundaries around attention and focusing on single tasks. The ultimate goal is not to maximize output, but to maximize quality of output while preserving the underlying energy reserve. This is the foundation of senior wellness, the capacity to engage deeply without being perpetually depleted. The mechanism of deep recovery is just as critical as the activity itself, involving parasympathetic activation through methods like controlled breathing or simple, quiet meditation, which directly lowers the stress hormone cortisol. The person who adopts this philosophy finds a profound shift in their daily experience. Instead of collapsing onto the couch at the end of the day, they possess the mental and physical reserve to engage in a meaningful evening activity, perhaps teaching a skill, engaging in a complex conversation, or tackling a creative project. This is the true measure of longevity, not merely the number of years lived, but the sustained capacity for meaningful engagement. The integration of this energetic discipline allows the person to remain a vital, contributing member of their community, embodying the highest ideals of aging. This is where the individual begins to find a seamless transition from their current self to the more vibrant, self-regulated person they wish to become. Am I consciously investing energy or just unconsciously spending it? The resilience of the adaptive system. The aging body and mind are perpetually facing novel challenges, a process that requires a highly adaptive system to maintain healthy aging. The core challenge, the common enemy, is systemic rigidity, the body's decreasing ability to respond flexibly to stress, whether physical, thermal, or psychological. Heng emphasizes that the path to continued longevity is not about insulating the body from stress entirely, but about applying controlled, therapeutic stressors that force the system to become more robust. This principle is the key to unlocking true daily vitality after the sixth decade. One of the central mechanisms of this adaptive resilience is the concept of hormesis, where a low dose of a toxin or stressor activates beneficial repair and defense pathways. For example, short, deliberate exposure to extreme temperatures, such as cold plunges or saunas, triggers a cascade of protective cellular responses, including the production of heat shock proteins and cold shock proteins. These proteins function as internal chaperones, repairing damaged cellular components and enhancing overall cellular function, offering a powerful counterexample to the notion that comfort is the optimal state for aging. In fact, perpetual comfort encourages systemic laziness, reducing the body's ability to respond to genuine crises. The applied scenario for this principle is the active engagement with small, manageable physical challenges. This might involve occasionally walking a longer distance than usual, engaging in a short, intense strength training session that briefly pushes the muscles to their limit, or purposefully embracing a temporary period of hunger through fasting. The individual who regularly practices these small acts of hormetic stress is essentially teaching their body to become anti-fragile, a system that gets stronger when exposed to disruption, rather than breaking down. This intentional application of stress is a direct pathway to greater senior wellness and functional independence. The profound impact of this adaptive resilience is perhaps best seen in the immune system. As a person ages, the immune response often becomes less efficient and more inflammatory, a condition known as immunosenescence. However, practices that encourage hormesis, such as consistent, moderate exercise, have been shown to maintain a more youthful and capable immune profile. Heng's insights on the value of consistent, mindful movement underscore that this is not about extreme athletic feats, but about regularity and intention. This is where people implicitly support the intention to learn more. The maintenance of a vigilant and precise immune system is a powerful element of the promise of long-term health. The primary limitation to incorporating this principle is the psychological barrier of discomfort. The modern world is engineered for ease, and deliberately choosing a brief period of cold or exertion requires overcoming a natural tendency toward immediate gratification. The person must develop a strong internal locus of control, recognizing that the temporary discomfort is a down payment on future vitality. The mechanism of this psychological shift involves reframing the discomfort as a signal of growth rather than a threat. This mental preparation allows the individual to face more significant life challenges with greater equanimity. Furthermore, these adaptive practices have a measurable impact on metabolic health. Controlled stress can improve insulin sensitivity, which is crucial for maintaining age with energy and preventing age-related diseases. By occasionally challenging the body's energy regulation, the person ensures that the fundamental metabolic machinery remains highly responsive. This is not simply about weight control. It is about protecting the cellular communication pathways that govern everything from cognition to muscle function. The person who embraces this path moves through the latter decades of life with a quiet confidence in their body's ability to handle what comes next, a profound realization for sustained longevity. The true reward for this dedication is an unshakable sense of functional capacity. Imagine a person in their 8th decade who can still spontaneously decide to climb a moderately challenging trail or spend an entire day navigating a large city on foot. This freedom from physical limitation is the ultimate expression of healthy aging. The individual's commitment to resilience becomes the shield against the erosion of time, allowing them to remain masters of their own physical and cognitive domain. The next step is understanding how these adaptive capacities are integrated into the deep rest needed for repair. How willing am I to embrace temporary discomfort for future resilience? The integrity of deep systemic repair, the final, essential pillar of longevity and healthy aging, is the integrity of deep systemic repair, a process that occurs primarily during periods of rest and recovery. This is not merely the absence of activity, but an active, metabolically intense state where the body and brain execute necessary maintenance protocols. The common enemy is the societal devaluation of sleep and deep rest, often viewing it as a luxury or a sign of low productivity. The foundational promise is that optimizing this repair process is the single most effective way to slow cellular aging and maintain daily vitality in the later years. The work of Heng consistently reinforces the necessity of structured rest, moving away from a passive understanding of sleep toward a recognition of its powerful role in cellular clearance. The central mechanism is the glymphatic system in the brain, which acts as a waste clearance pathway. During deep sleep, glial cells shrink, allowing cerebrospinal fluid to flush out metabolic waste products, including amyloid beta proteins, the accumulation of which is strongly linked to age-related cognitive decline. Failure to achieve consistent, high-quality deep sleep directly compromises the brain's ability to clean itself, offering a stark counterexample to the notion that one can function optimally on minimal rest. The applied scenario for this involves creating an environment and routine that honors the body's natural circadian rhythm. This means strict adherence to a consistent sleep schedule, minimizing exposure to blue light in the hours before bed, and managing the intake of stimulants. For a person over 60 whose natural sleep architecture may be fragmented, this intentional environmental control becomes even more critical for maximizing time spent in the deep, slow-wave sleep stages. The practice is a daily commitment to internal cleanliness, a vital component of senior wellness. The insights of Heng also point toward the restorative power of mental stillness during waking hours. Integrating short periods of focused, non-sleep deep rest, such as mindful meditation or simple quiet contemplation, allows the nervous system to shift into a parasympathetic state. This downtime reduces the chronic inflammation caused by persistent sympathetic nervous system activation. Chronic low-level inflammation is one of the primary drivers of aging, and the ability to intentionally dial down this system is an often overlooked yet critical skill for sustaining age with energy. People should note the connection between mental and physical recovery. A key limitation is the interference from underlying health conditions, such as sleep apnea or hormonal imbalances, which may require medical intervention and cannot be solved by routine alone. Therefore, the commitment to deep repair must include a willingness to address physical obstacles that prevent restorative rest. Furthermore, the final stage of longevity is achieved when the individual synthesizes all previous principles. The proper nutrition from the powerful fruit, the balanced energy expenditure from energetic discipline, and the targeted cellular cleanup facilitated by deep sleep. The commitment to structured repair ensures that the adaptive gains made during the day are effectively consolidated and maintained. The cumulative benefit of this entire framework is the resolution of the initial hook, the sustained ability to engage with life's challenges with a sharp mind and a capable body. The quantifiable promise is fulfilled by providing the structured path to optimizing these deep mechanisms. By consistently honoring the body's need for cleansing and restoration, the person moves beyond merely extending life and toward maximizing the richness and vitality within those years. The journey to healthy aging becomes a conscious, empowering act of self-mastery, ensuring that the final decades are characterized by engagement and energy. This is the ultimate expression of a life lived with intentionality and profound wisdom. Am I treating my rest as a vital action or just a passive default?